Hello and welcome to the viewers of this video. This is the Orange Fan here, bringing you another entry for the episode Recap and Thoughts category. This video will be dedicated to the B segment of episode 51 of Codename Kids Next Door, Operation Couch. We begin this segment at the Sector V treehouse, where we see 4 of the 5 Sector V operatives watching the Kids Next Door nightly news. The news anchors are a male and female Kids Next Door operative. The female operative is revealed to be number 10, and number 2 comments that he finds number 10 to be attractive, and number 5 does not like hearing this, to say the least. Suddenly, the treehouse alarms go off, and number 4 enters the room to tell his teammates that there's an emergency going on in Sector C, so they need to get to Arizona quickly. Number 2 clarifies that Sector C is in China, and number 4's response is to say even better before he quickly urges his teammates that they need to answer this emergency. So the Sector V operatives rush off to help their comrades from Sector C, but when most of the Sector V operatives leave, we see number 4 re-enter the room, and he changes the channel to a program called the Manly Man Yelling and Throwing Big Things Hour, or something along those lines anyway. And number 4 begins to chuckle to himself. Yes, there really isn't an emergency going on at Sector C. This was just something that number 4 made up so he could watch whatever he wants to watch on TV. So number 4 continues to chuckle to himself, and he rhetorically questions why he didn't think of this sooner. But then number 4 sees that another Sector V operative is still in the treehouse. We see that number 3 is also sitting on the couch, and she has a bowl of popcorn with her. Number 3 compliments number 4 for his idea, and then she takes the remote control to change the channel to the Rainbow Monkey Share Time Special. So this begins a fight between number 3 and number 4 over the remote control, and the channels keep switching while the fight is going on. Eventually, number 3 and number 4 accidentally drop the remote control, and it falls in between the couch cushions. Number 3 calmly says that they can simply change the channel from the TV itself, but number 4 is panicking, and he tries to retrieve the remote control, and he ends up crawling in between the couch cushions. So when number 3 turns back around after she changes the channel from the TV itself, she is confused that number 4 is no longer in the room, but she shrugs her shoulders afterwards. So we see number 4 crawling through in between the couch cushions for a while, but then after a certain point, he begins to fall from a great height, and then he loses consciousness. When number 4 regains consciousness, he's greeted by a group of men, and they're all wearing some casual outfits like jerseys, for example, but they're also wearing cloths that are meant to resemble togas from the Roman Empire. And one of these individuals is also wearing a pair of keys around his head. It sort of resembles the crown worn by the Roman emperor. So this individual, the one with the keys around his head, greets number 4 and introduces number 4 to him and the other men that are present. It turns out they all share the same name. They're all Dave. And the individual with the keys around his head is the emperor of this society, so we'll call him Emperor Dave to distinguish him for clarification purposes. He's voiced by John DiMaggio, by the way. So Emperor Dave does confirm number 4's questions, or he answers number 4's questions when number 4 is surprised to, number 4 is surprised to hear that there's a society living in between the couch cushions or within the couch, and he questions if this is real. And yes, Emperor Dave answers that this is real. And Emperor Dave says that number 4 arrived at a great time because in the past, the things that fell in between the couch cushions were not all that impressive. But he says that a good omen recently happened because the remote control fell through the couch cushions. And number 4 sees the remote control on a pedestal and he rushes towards it. This angers the Daves, and Emperor Dave stops number 4 and questions why number 4 thinks he can hold an item that is considered sacred. Number 4 insists that it's his remote control. He accidentally dropped it in between the couch cushions and he intends to retrieve it. Emperor Dave insists that only the Emperor can hold the remote control because of how sacred it's supposed to be. But number 4 insists that he's going to take the remote control with him back out of the couch cushions. So Emperor Dave decides that they will hold a challenge to determine who will get the remote control. So number 4 and the Daves all head to an arena that resembles a racing circuit. And yes, the challenge is in fact a chariot race. But the chariots are lounging chairs, and the chariots are being pulled by dust bunnies. In Codename Kids Next Door, dust bunnies are literally bunnies made out of dust. So the challenge is not just a race, but also actually grabbing the remote control. At one point during the circuit, there's some rope hanging, and the remote control is hanging from this rope. So the objective is to grab the remote control and to hold on to it. The winner is whoever is still holding the remote control by the end of the race. And the loser will get thrown off a ledge to some... they say that this ledge, being thrown off this ledge, will take them to the bottom of the world, or they say something along those lines anyway. So that's what happens to the loser of the race. So after the rules have been established, the race begins. And during the race, several springs pop out of the ground of the track that the race is on. So those act like obstacles during the race. But yes, number 4 manages to grab the remote control first, but Emperor Dave manages to get it during the race, and then throughout the race, number 4 and Emperor Dave are fighting over the remote control. At one point, they're both holding the remote control, and they're accidentally pushing buttons while they're fighting over it, and this is changing the channel on the TV. Number 3 notices the channels changing, and she's confused by this. Eventually, the race does come to an end, but Emperor Dave is the one holding the remote control when Emperor Dave is the one holding the remote control when the race ends. But then number 3 arrives. Yes, number 3 crawled through the couch cushions, and she's now at the racing circuit. And she grabs the remote control, saying that it's getting very annoying that the channels keep switching from them fighting over it. And this angers the Daves. The Daves accuse the remote control of being defiled because it was touched by a girl. And so their reaction to this is to sick the dust bunnies on number 3 and number 4. So number 3 and number 4 have to run away from the dust bunnies, and they come across a ledge. Seeing that they have no other choice, they jump off this ledge. Meanwhile, we head to the Sector C treehouse, and we see 2 of the Sector C operatives in the middle of eating a meal when the 3 other Sector V operatives arrive through a 2x4 technology flying vehicle. The 3 other Sector V operatives try to tell the Sector C operatives that they are aware of the emergency and they're here to help. So the Sector C operatives are speaking Chinese. We, the viewers, can understand what they're saying, or the viewers who don't understand Chinese can, the viewers who don't know Chinese can understand them because of the subtitles or the closed captions that are provided. And so the Sector C operatives think that the Sector V operatives need to use the bathroom. So they simply point to the direction of the bathroom, and the 3 other Sector V operatives head in that direction. In one of the rooms in the Sector C treehouse, we see a couch, and number 3 and number 4 pop out of this couch, but the dust bunnies also pop out of this couch. This room happens to be on the way to the bathroom because the 3 other Sector V operatives arrive, and so the Sector V operatives, the 3 other Sector V operatives, figure that this was the emergency, so they quickly eliminate the dust bunny threat. So after the threat has been defeated, all of the Sector V operatives return to the 2x4 technology flying vehicle. Number 1 tells the Sector C operatives that there's no need to thank them. They're happy to help fellow Kids Next Door operatives out. And so after the Sector V operatives leave, the Sector C operatives just call them crazy and continue to eat their meal. At a later point in time, number 4 is sitting on the couch and he's watching TV by himself with a bowl of popcorn. But Emperor Dave and another Dave keep messing around with number 4. They keep either changing the channel or taking some of the popcorn, and eventually they manage to pull the remote control and the popcorn bowl in between the couch cushions. The segment ends with an angered number 4 throwing the couch out of the Sector V treehouse. So this segment was I would say this segment was mostly a number 4 spotlight appearance, but number 3 also played an important role in this segment. It was really number 1, number 2, and number 5 who didn't play they didn't play as major of a role as number 3 and number 4 did. But yeah, I would argue number 4 was more so the spotlight character. It's actually a reverse of the sibling segment, where number 3, you could argue in Operation Love, this segment's sibling segment, number 3 was more so the spotlight character, while number 4 had a slightly more important, number 4 also had a more important role when compared to the other 3 Sector V operatives. So in this segment, it was number 4 with the main spotlight and number 3 having a major spotlight compared to the other 3 Sector V operatives. So this segment also is another example of Codename Kids Next Door's tendencies to take mundane situations and take them to an over-the-top situation. In this case, it's losing things in between the couch cushions. Yes, I'm sure many have experienced that feeling. You lose something in between the couch cushions and you can't find it for the longest time. That's happened to me a few times, I can acknowledge. But yes, so they take that typical situation and then they took it into an over-the-top manner, because in this case there's like a society. Yes, there's a society underneath the couch or in between the couch cushions. And in this case, the society was meant to reference the Roman Empire. And in this case, though, it was a bunch of men named Dave. So that was the over-the-top situation for something mundane for this particular series. And the remote control was considered sacred to the Daves. And the Daves, at first the Daves actually come off pretty friendly or affable. It's not until number 4 tries to claim the remote control when they start to act antagonistic. And then, yes, when number 3 grabbed the remote control, they accused the remote control of being defiled, and then their reaction to this was sicking dust bunnies on number 3 and number 4. So yeah, that was definitely something. The Daves seemed friendly at first, or they came off as being pretty affable, but yeah, we see that they do have a rather antagonistic side to them. And yes, sicking the dust bunnies on number 3 and number 4 just because number 3 touched the remote control was definitely an example of disproportionate retribution. But then again, yes, they're antagonists. They're part of the rogues gallery for the show, so I guess, it's not unheard of for villains to have disproportionate retribution in mind for anything that they perceive to be a slight. But besides that, we also got to see some other Kids Next Door operatives. Sector C, we saw at least 2 Sector C operatives. I'm not sure if that's... Yes, I'm sure that there probably are other Sector C operatives, but we only see the 2 that were featured in this segment. And we also got to meet 2 news anchor Kids Next Door operatives, the female operative being revealed to be number 10. And number 10 actually will return in season 5. I think she actually does get some other cameo appearances throughout season 5 and season 6. But there's a segment I'm thinking of where number 10 will play an important role. Or, yeah, she's one of the major characters for a segment that happens in season 5. And it actually reveals something important. Or, yes, we do find out, or yes, there is a revelation regarding number 10 and her connection to another Kids Next Door operative, a Sector V operative I'll hint at, but I won't go into too much else detail until we reach the recap and thoughts video for that particular segment. But yes, we will get to see number 10 again in the future in a more important role than her cameo here. And yes, the Kids Next Door Nightly News also reveals that, yes, the Kids Next Door organization have their own TV channels, or at least they have a news channel anyway. And this actually ties back into something all the way back from Season 1. Yes, in the Season 1 segment, Operation Cable TV, we found out that the Kids Next Door had their own global satellite web. They had their own satellite system. They had their own satellite system. And yeah, we can figure that, TV channels are probably part of this satellite system. It actually would make sense why they would shoot down the satellites for another TV channel or TV program or TV company, or you get what I mean. But so it actually tied into that season 1 segment it was a pretty cool way to tie into that detail from season 1. So otherwise, that might be about it for this particular segment. So number 4 and number 3 got to have an important role like they did in the sibling segment, although the roles of who was the spotlight character switched, and we got to meet some new enemies, the Couch Daves, and we got to see some other Kids Next Door operatives, some operatives from Sector C, and 2 operatives who are news anchors. One of them will return in a more important role in a Season 5 segment. But otherwise, yes, I believe that's about it. So as of this video, we've now discussed the B segment for episode 51 of Codename Kids Next Door on this channel. Take care, and until next time.